Hey everybody, welcome to the Pre-Calc 12 video lesson that supports the Wave Theory number 2 booklet. This guy right there. And in the booklet, we're going to be exploring how to graph more complex trig equations. So something like this. How do we wind up graphing that? And in order to be able to do that, we need to remember some of our tricks from, our very first unit from September. So we'll do a little bit of that review, right? What is that? How does that play out? A, f, b of x plus h plus k. Just a quick reminder of what those are, and then you'll notice that our equations have this kind of format. So, we'll just be transferring that over to the sine graphs and the cosine graphs, and we'll just recall, right, cosine graph looks like that, and sine graph looks like that. So those are our, starting points, and then we'll put them all together in the second video, right, how to do the whole shebang. So here we're just setting up the foundation. All right, so let's get started on some of those details. Okay, so don't forget how the A, B, H, and K worked in our first unit, right? A was our vertical expansion, B was our horizontal compression, right? H was our horizontal shift, remember backward. I know some people have the minus H there and then whatever, but we talked about that in the class. I used plus H and then I used the minus H down here. So that's our horizontal shift. And then our vertical shift is K, right? So that's that. So this applies equally to our sine graphs. So let's have a look and see what that looks like. All right, so here are our main adaptations from our regular functions to the sines and cosine graphs, right? The absolute value of A, we know is your amplitude. We can calculate A by taking the top number of our graph, minusing the bottom number of our graph, and dividing by 2. So you might want to just remember that or write that down for yourself. Same thing here for K, our K value, right? We can calculate as the top plus the bottom of the graph and divide that by 2, right? Our H value is the negative of our start, right? Just kind of like the same as with a regular function. And K is your baseline, so that's where the baseline of your graph is. That's like the x-axis in a normal graph. And we can calculate our period by 360 over b, or 2 pi over b, and if I have to calculate our b value, I just do the little swappy dance. Thank you, Mr. Duick. And divide 360 divided by p, that gets us our b value. Just do a little bit of simple algebra. All right, so let's have a look at one of the types of questions I'll ask you to do. We'll do a t-chart for it, okay? All right, so let's say we got this graph looks like this, and I can find this top, right? This top is 8, bottom is -2, right? It starts at 30, and it ends at 210, right? So this would be like the first iteration of the graph, and I'm asking you to write its equation. Okay, so I'll set up a t-chart, and we'll just keep these numbers up at the top kind of in mind when I go to the next slide. Okay, so we really have 5 things to calculate. I mean, we have 4 things for our formula, right? A, B, H, and K. But in order for us to calculate our B value, we need to know the period. And that's something that we just have to do a little bit of extra calculation. So, like I said, we want to calculate the components of your cosine graph with A, B, H, and K. So remember the formulas from the last video before. You might want, they're around the 2:33-minute mark of the video. So you want to go and calculate these values, knowing what you know from up above. So A is our top minus the bottom is divided by 2. So A has got the minus and K has got the plus. It's the same formulas but slightly different. And then your B value is 360 over P, but you got to find P first, so you got to do that, and then you plug it in. You got to do work backwards 2 steps to do. And there's and then H is your negative of your start, which is the easiest of them all, right? Our start here is 30, so our H value will be -30. So I'm just going to go ahead and calculate these out. You can calculate them on your own too. Pause the video if you like, and you can see if yours turns out to be what mine turns out to be.